So today I wanted to sit in this corner and just talk about this market and just some, multiple different topics. These videos never really have any certain direction. It's not just one specific topic, just a conglomerate of a bunch of things. But mainly I wanted to talk about just recently I've noticed, and I've talked about it in other videos too, but this market is headed in a different direction than it was before. And I'm noticing it, and I think it's going to possibly continue. It's still a little bit too early to say because we're going to have to see the release of Destined Rivals to really know what happens, right? Because all this stuff we're seeing before the set gets released is, there could be some misinformation, some things that might mislead us to thinking certain things might happen when they won't with the market. But I want to talk about that and things I've noticed just with, I guess, real life, I guess, sales of Pokemon. And yeah, just talk a little bit about everything. But the first thing I wanted to talk about and get this out the way because it's so random. I think it was like a month ago, I decided to buy some Magic. Now, I know not a single thing about Magic. Like I literally know nothing, but I heard about this set. It's the newest set, the Dragonstorm set. That it was like a pretty good set, and I just read into it a little bit why it was like different than all the previous releases and how this is going to be a really good set. So I'm like, okay, I know nothing about Magic, but I do know collector displays are like the one of the best products, because I think they're limited. So I'm like, okay, Pokemon Journey Together really wasn't much going on. They already had my pre-orders. I'm like, you know what? There's really nothing to do. I'm just gonna put a little bit of money into Magic. So I bought some collector displays of Dragonstorm just for a little bit of fun. And you guys can see right here, here are the displays. They're honestly pretty cool. And I didn't even know this, but on the where's it on the bottom here? These are actually made in Japan. So pretty cool. Bought, some of them. Uh, I could sell them right now and make money. I don't really know what I'm gonna do with them. I'm not into Magic. I know nothing about Magic. I was like, I just heard a lot of people talking about this set. I'm like, I'm just gonna put a little bit of money into it. And I'm kind of happy I did because, like I said, I can make money already selling them. So I did decent. Just something random to talk about. Magic. I know nothing. To be honest, you know, I don't know when I'm gonna sell them. It's kind of a weird spot, because I've heard that I think because I know Magic like generally has this problem of overprinting stuff and just causing everything to be worthless. But I've heard with the collector displays or collector, items, they don't really do that anymore. Not 100% sure. This is where I'm sort of uneducated and why I didn't want to buy a lot. So I bought some, and it seemingly is going well. We'll see what happens. But to be honest, I'm not connected with Magic like I am with Pokemon because I know nothing about it. So I could honestly care less if I sold it, made money, a little bit of money now, and whatever happens, happens. Like because I don't know the whole economics with Magic and how that stuff goes with reprints and how sets work and prices of cards, why they go up, why they go down. I only know that with Pokemon. So I'm very conflicted with what to do with those. So if you guys know anything about Magic, let me know down in the comments below. Give your opinion. Should I sell those now or should I? I know it just came out, so probably it'd just be a dumb idea to sell them now. But let me know. Do you guys think I should keep them? There's just I only have like some of them. Like I don't have many. It's kind of whatever. But just a little bit off topic. But getting back to Pokemon. Um, I guess first I want to talk about probably a mistake that I made recently, investing into Pokemon, sort of, I guess going into the hype thing. Journey Together, we all know Journey Together sales and everything have been pretty weak recently. Um, I regret buying those normal ETBs. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I remember when I was buying these from Facebook Marketplace under $70. I thought I was getting a deal because I'm like, okay, Journey Together, the ETBs. I'm looking at Surging Sparks. I'm like, okay, these got up to around $100. I was thinking Journey Together with sort of the hype that was there. I'm like, okay, if I can buy this for under $70, and at the time I think market price was around 80. I'm like, all right, I'm getting a deal. If I buy these under 70, in the next few months, they're probably going to go closer to 100. I know that sounds crazy to say now, but that was my thought process. I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy some of them. Luckily, I didn't buy too many, but I wish I didn't buy any of them because looking at how the market is, probably should have just held on to cash. Probably should have just either just held on to cash or hopefully use that to maybe possibly buy Destined Rivals when I get that chance. But that's probably the first mistake I guess I made recently in this market because so far everything else I've been fine with buying. But yeah, definitely wish I didn't really buy those. But hey, maybe a few months they'll start going up. Who knows? Not going to sell any of them, but definitely sort of now, sort of a hindsight thing, looking at where prices are, where prices of the cards have gone for Journey Together. Maybe it wasn't the best decision, but it's whatever. It's all right. So that's one thing I wanted to talk about with Journey. Sort of wish I didn't buy those ETBs. You guys know I bought them because I talked about it. Um, and what else? So I guess now I want to just talk about what the main point is, the market. So I know there's a lot of controversy with the market. If you say the market's super strong, it seems like this, the normal thing to say, the smart thing to say. Yeah, just ignore all these people talking about things going down or pullback or whatever. It's nothing. It's just noise. The market's still super strong. It's going to continue to be like this. That's the easy thing to say. But, recently I have been more talking about the negative side, the Timmy side, saying everything's going down. Obviously, I'm not sitting here saying things are crashing, but I still want to keep emphasizing this point because I think it's important, especially for people out there trying to flip stuff, because that's definitely a thing now. The market seemingly is headed not in an upwards direction. And I really would find it hard to, I guess, see things going higher than where they were going with Prismatic. I really, truly believe Prismatic was sort of the top of this market. I know it's a little bit too early to say because we haven't seen the release of Destined Rivals. I know it could be crazy. It's possible. But obviously with the recent, sentiment we've gotten with Destined Rivals, a large portion of people online sort of have been negative, like a large portion. More people have been negative about the set than not. And when that happened with Journeys Together, look what happened to the prices of the stuff. I mean, obviously it's a smaller set. I get it. It's not Team Rocket. But looking at Destined Rivals, I still have said it. I think it's the best main set. But you got to look at where the prices are. I always emphasize this. Journey Together, it was at 255, dropped to 215, okay? This booster box is at 320. We have never seen this. There's no Scarlet and Violet booster box above 300 bucks. But Journey Together, boxes were 255. There were Surging Sparks, probably Evolve now is like 250. So we're going to uncharted territories with Destined Rivals with prices. And if things continue to rise, like let's say they go to like 400 bucks, we could see price drops like we've never seen before. And taking into consideration this set is more hyped up than Journey Together, even with the recent decline of hype seemingly, there's going to be a lot of people flipping. That's just the truth. PC ETBs are going to flip out the moon with all those orders that people place. 100% people are going to flip them because if people can even just double their money, like I know they're pre-selling right now for 300 bucks. If people can literally sell them for like 120, 180, people, if you can double your money, people are going to take that. And if people see Destined Rivals possibly the market not being as strong as they thought it would, people might sell when they maybe wouldn't have. And I just think this market generally is not headed in the upwards direction. Like I said with Prismatic, I really feel was the peak. The scalping, the craziness. I mean, still Prismatic. The prices of the cards are still extremely strong, but the sealed, a little bit of different story. It's been stagnant. But these are some things to think about, I guess, with the market and how things are behaving. To take that into consideration when you're buying, especially Destined Rivals, or really anything right now in this market, you can maybe buy the stuff that's doesn't have a high chance of getting reprinted, like probably avoid Prismatic, probably avoid Journey, probably maybe avoid Destined depending on the price, because those are the things that probably gonna get printed in this market if things do downturn. And those are the things that are gonna see the biggest declines, right? If that does happen. Prismatic, maybe not, because Prismatic's like the most expensive set by far, but sort of everything else. You got to understand where you're buying at right now in this market. You're buying at the top for everything. And where this market's going, the decline we've seen recently, if you're thinking about making short-term plays, and that's basically what I'm trying to get at here. If you're holding long-term, obviously buying any of this stuff is whatever, right? Because if you're going to hold this stuff for 2 to 5 years, it's not going to matter. But if you're trying to make these short-term flips or whatever, you got to understand, and obviously it's my opinion here saying the market's sort of downturning because, I mean, I feel like there is some data out there showing that, but I've talked about it. But you got to also do your own research and see for yourself if you do think that's happening. Because for me, I'm not as bullish as I was a few months ago with this whole market being super crazy for like a long time. I remember the general statement was this market was going to be crazy like this until at least, I guess next year or when this year ends. I don't, Destin Rivals released in May. I guess that's like halfway through the year. It's possible that may still be very true, but I don't know if it's ever gonna get to a point where we were like that in the market with Prismatic. I don't know if we're gonna, because after Destin Rivals, what is gonna be the next most hyped up thing? I don't know. I know there's the black and white set. I think that might be a specialty set. I don't think that's gonna be terribly like insane. Like I don't think that's gonna be crazy. I don't know. Just this market is in a really controversial space right now. If it's going up, going down, what's going on? It seems like it's all over the place. And if you give your own opinion, like me saying that right now, I feel like the market really is seeing some sort of decline, and things just seemingly aren't gonna skyrocket anymore like they used to. It might get some negative feedback, but I feel like there is good evidence out there, kind of showing that pullback, and just generally the past, journey together, sort of a disappointment a little bit. Destin Rivals, sort of a disappointment to some people. Obviously, things might change when we see card prices, but you take this stuff into account. If we see Journey Together, sort of a letdown. Destin Rivals, possibly on release. Maybe if let's say theoretically it's sort of a letdown. It's not as crazy. Maybe the release day isn't crazy. We don't see crazy scalpers. Guys, we'll have two sets that were supposed to be crazy lined up that didn't go crazy. What is that going to do to the market? You got to think about this stuff. It's real stuff where I feel like I'm telling you, it's so easy to be positive and sound smart, being like, just ignore all these people saying all these negative things. But I feel like there's some real evidence and some truth behind the negativity of this market in the near future. I feel like there is validity to it. If you don't, believe it, you can buy into whatever, at whatever price point you think is fine. But for me, I'm definitely, especially for some of these newer releases like Destin Rivals, I'm not as bullish on, especially like, for example, with Prismatic. I'm not as bullish on Destin Rivals as I was with Prismatic, because Prismatic, evidently, I bought a lot of it. So, I've just noticed just everything sort of has slowed down a little bit, the craziness. Even, I guess, pointing back to what I wanted to also talk about, real life sales. I keep track of, my local card stores that I sell to, just to see where their sales are, how fast they're selling things. Guys, things have slowed down a lot. I remember back then a few months ago, looking at their supply, literally getting emptied within days of stuff like I used to sell to them, and just looking at everything, sales have slowed down pretty significant. Like some things are still selling okay, like Prismatic, but even things like Surging have sort of slowed down. Even other sets, Sword and Shield is pretty slow. Scarlet and Violet, even booster boxes aren't selling like crazy. Just everything in general has slowed down. That's real. Like I'm seeing this from a local card store perspective. Things have slowed down. Like it's actually a thing. I'm not just looking at online people. Like I'm looking at this physical store, and it's in a pretty, wealthy area. Sales have 100% slowed down. It's still, I would say, strong for what it is, right? But it's not what it used to be, and I don't see it going crazy anytime soon or seeing some sort of random upturn. Like I think Destin Rivals is going to have to beat people's expectations with card prices to really ramp this market back up. Because at least from what we're seeing with people's views on the artworks, people are like pretty iffy, especially that Mewtwo. But if we see prices of the cards, let's say the Mewtwo, let's say theoretically it's like $500+ we might see maybe a different story. Maybe Destin Rivals will be crazy and people will want it when it's expensive. But at least for now, there's a lot of evidence of things slowing down. And in my opinion, that's just the truth. I'm not, trying to sit here and just be all positive and just, say, oh, screw all those people. They don't know what they're talking about, saying things are negative. Then show me evidence that this market is as strong as it was a few months ago. It's not. Things were, a few months ago when Prismatic was released, was way stronger than it is now. Prices for some products have still gone up. That's the thing, because we haven't gotten reprints or anything. But it's not crazy. It's not like it used to be. And there's so much evidence of that. So be careful. If you're trying to flip stuff, understand where prices are. I mean, it might not go, I know some people will probably think this booster box was going to go to like $500-600 or some crazy amounts, but I don't know. Things are so weird in this market. You could say the cliche saying or whatever of be greedy when others are fearful and be fearful when others are greedy. That statement has some truth to it, but it's not always true. And I feel like with Destined Rivals, if you're buying a booster box at $300 and you're using that statement because people are being negative, I don't know about all that, right? So those are my thoughts about this market. Um, I am just speaking, I guess, my opinion. What I say doesn't mean it's going to happen. This market could continuously just go up. Destined Rivals may be a huge hit on release day and everything. But I think the people that are ignoring these market, I guess, factors and stuff that's going on in just as a whole, I feel like it is kind of naive because I'm seeing it in real life. I'm seeing it with the new releases. I'm seeing it across the board, and I'm seeing it online. There's no, there's not a lot of people complaining about scalpers anymore. A lot of stuff has changed in the past few months, and Destined Rivals, we'll really see what happens. If Destined Rivals turns out to be just maybe like Journey, no, not it's not gonna be as bad as Journey. Maybe I shouldn't even say that. If it turns out to be maybe just a little bit better than Journey in terms of the hype with after the release day and stuff, maybe a couple weeks after kind of drops off like Journey Taylor has, I don't see how this market is gonna get any stronger because Destined Rivals, I've talked about it, was the end point for this hype. It was Surging, Prismatic, Journey, and then Destined. Destined was the end point. Where do we go from here? Where's the next hyped up set? It was Destined Rivals. So I really think it's gonna really show where we go in the future, and that's all I want to say. It's just the market it's in a very middle ground place where it could either go up or it can go down. But generally, what I'm seeing, it's more, I think, likely things will probably, in my opinion, probably just continue to stay stable with this Destined Rivals release because of just everything going on just as a whole right now. But those are just my opinions about the market. Just wanted to talk a little bit about everything. Hope you guys enjoyed. And yeah, just wanted to have this little talk in this corner. And yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching.